Hey everyone, when I think back to being a principal, one of the goals was how do we change our perception? In the animal kingdom, it's eat or be eaten. In the human kingdom, it's define or be defined. If you don't tell your story, someone else will. And when someone else tells your story, it's not exactly at times the story you want told. So, as we really focused on improving the work, then it really was about sharing the work. And when we think about how important images are, when we think about visuals, the information, 90% of information that's transmitted to the brain is visual. 40% of people better respond to visual information than to plain text. And almost 97% of people believe that visual content engages best on social media. And when you think about these stats, here's another one that I pulled for my recent blog post. The human brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text. So the idea is, how do we really leverage this to tell our story? There's so much great work happening in schools. There's so many great things that our teachers, that our kids, administrators are doing. And when we, sort of for me, when I got on social media, I really focused on Twitter. And I really wanted to just share out information and improve communication. As I became a lurker, I learned about how we could improve our practice. Not just practice as a leader in my case, but how we could improve teaching and learning in order to improve school culture. So after we began to improve that foundation, it really was about moving beyond Twitter and harnessing the power of images. Now, those stats that I mentioned before, when you think about how many people are using Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram, there's over 1 billion people on Instagram and they're sharing images. So as we think about all the different things that we can do to share images, think about how visuals help us really bring that air of transparency as to what's happening. Why are we doing this? How are we doing it effectively? What tools, processes, and support are making it a reality? Visuals stimulate more engagement and participation. They help provide a common language, common vision, common language, common expectations. Sometimes visuals make complex issues more understandable. They also create memorabilia and improve thinking about how we can do what we do better. So if we were going to break it down, we talk about the power of visuals to become storytellers, to become the storyteller in chief. Social media allows us to share anytime, anywhere, virtually with anyone we want. So as we think about our role in education and we talk about visual storytelling, what do we want to focus on? Think about showcasing all the innovative practices that are taking place. The one thing that I did as a principal and I do now as a consultant is I love taking pictures. I take pictures of what the kids are doing. I take pictures of assessment. I take pictures of student work, add a little caption. But that picture not only is what the brain likes, but it adds to increasing memory as to what that practice is really leading to. So when we think about the artifacts, think about innovative practices, think about even like how we showcase improvement in learning outcomes. I remember when my former school, we saw so much growth in 2013 in achievement. And during that time, we were bringing our own device, we were using flipped classrooms, we were doing a lot of innovative stuff. And once we were able to improve achievement and were recognized in New Jersey and also nationally, I bought cheesy plaques. I bought cheesy plaques that no one would ever see. Why? So I could take a picture of those plaques that are hanging in the wall and I could share those images across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, share on email blast, through Remind, and even our school app. The point here is, why would we not want to capture, curate, and amplify the successes that we experience? There are successes in our schools every single day, and a simple picture can help to articulate to our stakeholders that success. Another thing is when we think about culture, think about how images, when we think about mindset, often it's if it's important to you, you'll find a way. If not, you'll make an excuse. We tend to focus on the yeah buts, but we need to focus on the what ifs. Think about how images can really give a more realistic look at flexible seating and how flexible seating can support high-level flexible learning. Looking at maybe the artistic abilities of our kids as they create interdisciplinary murals in hallways, how we're transforming outdoor spaces into vibrant learning environments. So we can really do a good service by taking pictures of how we are innovating our culture. And when we think about culture, it's not just what happens in our classrooms. I remember when Hurricane Sandy hit when I lived in New York City. And it was just the devastation at the time was we really couldn't, comprehend it because we weren't used to storms like that. But what do great schools do? What do great districts do? They have their kids serve. And I remember my kids, my wrestling and cheerleading squads, they did community service at the Jersey Shore. And while they were there cleaning up the beach, they found an intact American flag. And they took what soon became an iconic picture of our kids raising this intact American flag after they had donated their time to serve the local community. This image was taken by my wrestling coach, and it was sent to me. And on a Sunday, within minutes, I was able to take this image, share it across multiple channels, but the impact, you can't put a price on it. People were celebrating the great work of our kids, celebrating how our school was having our kids serve a greater common good, bigger than themselves. The amount of likes, impressions, and comments was just amazing. So we can think about how the images can actually lead to supporting our cultures, not just with technology, but building great citizens. So think about how well are you leveraging the power of visuals. Think about improving the work, but then sharing the work. How might pictures add greater context to the changes that you're successfully implementing? How might changes move people from perception of what you do in your classroom, your school, your district to reality? Because every picture can open up a conversation. Every picture can lead to more context as to why, how, and what. And every picture can add to a level of transparency that really showcases the amazing work that's happening in our schools with our kids. Thanks, everybody, and check out my blog post on the topic as well.